Hey, I bet you've clicked on this video because you're sitting on a mountain of debt. Feels like you're never gonna get out of it, right? It's holding you back, you've tried everything, and you're just sick of it. That's where I was a few years ago. I wanted to get rid of it as soon as possible. And you know what? 3.5 years after I made that commitment, it was gone. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly how I did that. I've broken it all down into a simple 3-step formula. No matter how much or what type of debt you have, this formula will work for you. Want to know more? Keep watching. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Ready Set Life YouTube channel. My name is Brittany and I am a financial coach who makes videos all about taking the fear out of finance so that you can live the rest of your life. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos just like this one. So, how do you get rid of that pesky little or big debt mountain? Well, as I'm sure you know, there seems to be a plethora of different debt repayment options, each way more confusing than the next. It can be super overwhelming to try and figure out the right one for you. Today, I'm going to make it really easy. There are just 3 steps to everyone's debt payoff. Pick a system, make a plan, and stick with it. Number 1 is pick a system. Keyword here, system. Don't just throw random extra money at random debts at random times and expect it to go down. Think strategically and use a systematic and structured approach. Now I know that seems totally boring, but hear me out. As an example, the systems that I like to recommend to my clients are the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, and paying off by emotional debt. Don't ask me why all of them are based on winter. I did not make the names. Winter is terrible. This is a method where you pay the minimum payments on all of your loans except for the one with the smallest balance. When you're paying the one with the smallest balance, you're throwing everything extra that you have towards that one. Once this is paid, then you can take that payment and roll it on to the next debt, and so on and so forth. It's really good for people who need just a really quick win. If you've been in debt forever and are really frustrated with having lots of different things to pay off, this might be really good for you. It really helps to mentally see the quick progress with this strategy. With this method, you pay minimums on all of your loans except for the one with the highest interest rate. This is where you're throwing all of the extra money that you have towards that one debt. When that debt is paid, then you roll the payment into the next highest interest rate, and so on and so forth. This one is the cheapest or least expensive way to pay off debt. Using this method, you're going to spend the least amount of money in the long run paying interest fees and things like that. This is a lesser known system. Not a lot of people suggest it or use it, but I think it's extremely important not to forget the emotional side of money. If you have a debt that has a lot of emotional baggage, like you made a really stupid money decision and every time you look at that bill, it just brings you back to that bad place, you're gonna wanna pay that off first. It's really important to prioritize your mental health. Even if this debt has the lowest interest rate on it, or there are other debts that will cost you more, this debt is taking up the most mental space, and that's worth something too. Now, I mentioned interest rate a lot in that last little bit, and I'm sure a lot of you know what that is, but let's just back up just a second in case you're sitting here thinking, this is a total foreign language to me and I'm lost. Whenever you borrow money, there's an interest rate associated with it, usually represented as a percentage. It means you're paying back the balance of your loan plus whatever that agreed upon percentage is. So the lender is making money because they're getting back what you borrowed plus more. Let's say that you have 3 debts. A car loan with a balance of $2,000 and an interest rate of 7%, a student loan with a balance of $10,000 and an interest rate of 5%, and a credit card with a balance of $7,000 and an interest rate of 19%. If you chose the debt snowball method, you'd be paying off the car loan first, because this has the smallest balance. If you chose the avalanche method, you'd be paying off the credit card first, because it has the highest interest rate. If you chose the emotional method, the interest rates or balances wouldn't matter. You'd pay off whatever debt gave you the most emotional turmoil. The important thing is that you're tackling your debt in a systematic and structured way. If you don't take a look at interest rates or balances and are just trying to throw money wherever you think it fits all at the same time, it's going to take you a really long time to get out of debt. And that's if you even get out. The most effective way to pay off debt is to actually concentrate on one debt at a time. So pay your minimums and concentrate on tackling a single balance. Once you start getting rid of your debts, you can roll all of your payments into the next debt and therefore pay off things quicker and quicker as you move forward. Step number 2 is to make a plan. You know me in planning. Now that you've done step 1, you've picked your system of repayment, then you can figure out how you're actually going to make that happen. Take a look at all of your finances, all of your expenses, your needs, and figure out where you stand. Is there any money left over from what you're spending now, or do you have to make some lifestyle changes to make that happen? Once you've figured out what you're working with, then you're going to be much more prepared to actually implement the debt repayment system. If you've never made a budget before, I'm going to link my video on how to make your first budget up in the cards. Make sure that you watch that if you want to know how I suggest doing this. Don't be afraid to play around with the numbers either. I'm going to link a debt repayment calculator down in the description. Try putting different payment amounts just to see how things would work out. Play around with your budget numbers as well. See if you can squeeze out any more money by making certain lifestyle changes. Point is not to cut out everything or to completely change everything about how you're living. I actually suggest against that because that never works. Just understand what choices you're making with your finances so that you can figure out what is important to you. For example, let's say you have a weekly drinking night with your coworkers and spend approximately $40 every time you go out. This means that you're spending $160 a month. Maybe you're super committed to your debt payoff and you decide not to attend those drinking nights at all while you're paying off your debt. Or maybe you still want that bonding time, so you want to see what it would look like if you only went once a month or twice a month instead of every week. You'd still have that social interaction, but on a smaller scale so it can be more balanced. You really just have to take a look at where all of your money is going and what you value. Make sure you're giving yourself some grace in your lifestyle. Not everyone can cut out every single thing, but if getting out of debt is important to you, really take a strong look at how you're actually going to implement that payoff system and what lifestyle changes you're going to be making. The third step to your debt payoff is to stick with it. This is where a lot of people get frustrated and fall right off the wagon. The hardest thing about debt payoff is consistency. Give yourself some motivation to stay committed. Print out a picture of an amazing vacation you're going to take when you're out of debt, or the home that you want to buy, or whatever. Stick it on your fridge or somewhere that you look at every day. Set motivation reminders in your phone, like keep going and you're doing great. Seriously, it sounds kind of stupid, but if you make little events in Google Calendar with messages to yourself in 3 months or 6 months, you're going to totally forget that you wrote them, and they'll come up exactly when you need them the most. And make sure that you're always reassessing. It takes a really long time to make a routine stick, especially if you're making financial changes or lifestyle changes. It can really start off great and then fall apart in 6 months. Don't give up when this happens. Reassess it instead. Making a mistake in this does not mean that it's not working. Keep with your foundations. Stay with your system and stay with your plan. You might have to take a look at your plan and move some things around that maybe aren't working, but if you're honest with yourself, you're going to find something that does work. Even small progress is progress, and I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They think if they're not paying thousands of dollars towards their debts, then it's not going to be good enough or effective. But even if you're eating away at that mountain with a plastic spoon, eventually you're going to eat the whole thing. Be committed and be consistent. Alright everyone, that is all that I have for today. If you feel like you are struggling with debt repayment, I hope that this helped you out. And make sure to tune in next week because I'm going to be following up this video with another video on debt repayment, but this time for people with a low income. So if this is something that you're struggling with, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell down there so you don't miss when it drops. If you like this video, remember to give it a like and let me know in the comments how your debt repayment is going. Are you at the beginning of your journey or have you been at this for maybe a little while? Let's all share our journeys and support each other in the comments. A credit card with a balance of $7. $7. Your credit card has $7 in it? You're in a good place. If you chose the emotional method, don't be afraid. afraid. Don't be afraid.